Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Welcome to our February 8th meeting. I'll call for 9:30, and I will confirm that all members of council are present, as well as our municipal clerk. I'll read off the territorial land acknowledgement. We respectively acknowledge the township of Allen-McCullough is located on the Mississaugan and Anishinaabeg territory and is the traditional territory of the Mississaugan and Anishinaabeg. The township of Allen-McCullough respectively acknowledges that the Mississauga Nation are the collective stewards and caretakers of these lands and water, and that they maintain responsibility to ensure the health and integrity for generations to come. Moving on to the agenda, we have a motion to approve the agenda. I've just been informed that the provision asking that we waive the provision to add bylaw 2026-08 is not into contention now, and that was listed as 15.1 because the administration has issued administrative issue wants to be confirmed by staff, so we're going to pull it to back on February 24th meeting. But we will still discuss it in the closed session, but we won't have the bylaw. If there's any, okay. So can I get a mover and a seconder? Moved by Councilor Ainsworth, seconded by Deputy Mayor Stover. Any discussion? All in favor? That's carried. Disclosure of pecuniary interest. Does anybody have anything to declare today? Seeing none, that'll be noted. We're going to move into closed session now. So I'll read off the recommendation. It is recommended the Council of the Corporation of Allen-McCullough act as follows. That the regular council meeting of February 10th, 2026 move into a closed session under Municipal Act Section 239 2B regarding personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees, labor relations, or employee negotiations, a position, plan, procedure, criteria of instruction to be applied in any negotiations carried on or to be carried on by or on behalf of the municipality or local board. And it's regarding QP union negotiations, updates, and advisory committee appointments is a second. Okay, so can I get a mover and seconder when closed? Moved by Councillor Booth, seconded by Councillor O'Neill. Any discussion? Questions? All in favor? Motion's carried. We'll take a minute to make sure staff have the room properly set up for closed, including asking people whether they're on virtual, but they'll have to move off. So it'll just be a minute and then we'll have that all straightened around and we'll be able to go.
To the members of the public that are currently online, if you could please leave the meeting, we will open the session again when we get back to open session following.
And I'll first, report.
Now you can go.
Okay, thank you. We are back at a close and I will. Okay. How's that? Thank you, Mary Catherine. Okay, we're back into, open session and I will report what was, determined at a close, and that was that during the closed session meeting, we received 3 reports for information. Staff were also provided with direction and will proceed as discussed. If I can move and seconder. Moved by Councilor Ainsworth, seconded by Deputy Mayor Stover. Further discussion? All in favor? Motion's carried. And then we're going back to approval of the minutes. Then we have minutes from the council meetings on January 13th and 2 special budget meetings. The first one was on the 14th of January and the second one was on the 28th of January. So the resolution reads that the minutes of the following meetings be adopted. Regular council meeting of January 13th. The special council meeting and budget meeting of January 14th. And special council meeting, budget meeting of January 28th. Move in a second. Moved by Councilor Ainsworth. Second by Councilor Booth. Further discussion? All in favor? Motion's carried. Are there any other business arising from those previous minutes? Councilor Ainsworth.
To you, Mayor. I'd like to pull out January the 13th, 7.1 in that meeting, talked about surplus land. I would like to make a motion to reconsider on some of those lands, and I know there was some lands that were just kind of left in limbo. So, motion to reconsider to open up that 7.1 and talk about the surplus lands that are sitting there in limbo.
Okay. Thank you. Can I get a seconder? Seconded by Councilor Deputy Mayor Stover. Discussion. Go ahead, Councilor Ainsworth.
Well, for you, Mayor, so there was, the piece of property on County Road 29.
Right.
Oh, okay. So you were asked a motion to be considered?
Yes.
Okay. That's a yes or no question. So I'm asking first of all for that vote on there.
Okay.
Those in favor of reconsideration? Opposed? Motion is carried. Now, move on.
Sorry,
Yes,
I just want to make sure that when we're looking at motions to reconsider, that we are in alignment with our procedural bylaw. And when I look at 13.18, motion to reconsider, number 1, council may not reconsider a decision for a period of 1 year following the decision. There are opportunities within the meeting or at the next meeting to bring these forward, but at this point, I'm not sure.
that you did, what number did you say?
13.18, motion to reconsider clause 1. On page 28 of the booklet that I have.
Well, I'm gonna have to take a minute to look at this because I'm not exactly 100% familiar with it, so please bear with me. Okay.
Right, this is it.
Have you got something to add?
I'm also wondering if we're in alignment with clause 2, that the motion can only be made by a member who voted with the majority on the original motion.
What was the original motion? With the majority, I don't think there was a majority, was there? Number two? We're voting on number two, 13-2, is that what you're referring to?
Mm-hmm.
13-2.
In other words, someone who loses a vote isn't supposed to be bringing it back multiple times to council table.
Because a motion to reconsider and decide the matter shall not be moved by a member who voted with the majority. Shall only be removed by a member who voted with the majority on the original motion. But coming back to the same thing, there's no majority. Is there? Please.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, as a matter of procedure, so under 13.182, a motion to reconsider decided matter shall only be moved by a member who voted with the majority of the original motion. So that's going back to the January 14th meeting, and the discussion and the resulting vote on the item 7.1 surplus lands. So it also says further on down that it's each member of council is responsible for making determination on how they voted on the specific matter. So that would be up to council as to whether or not they recall who voted which way during that original vote on January 14th is what that's saying.
Okay, so are you saying there's a majority vote or not? Or we just take it like it normally is, and it's defeated, then it's.
If I might add, if you go to number 9 too, it says in the event of a resolution that is defeated due to a tie vote, the resolution shall be considered defeated.
That's a good point, thank you.
So that means it's a negative no then. So I think Councillor Mary Catherine is correct, is that the motion to reconsider can only be made by, and there was only 4 of us here, so we know what the vote was. I guess my question is, 7-1 has a whole bunch of them in there. Which one are we looking at? Because some of them were defeated and some were carried. Which one are we looking at?
County Road 29, can I tell them? Something that I would like to reconsider at least, would be the property in County Road 29, surplus land on Andrews Drive. The property on 282 County Road 22. Those would be the 3, and then there's also a resolution moved by council that the council corporation of the township of the Hamilton Acton has followed that continue investigating surplus land.
Thank you, Mary Catherine.
As a member who sat at this table and lost many votes, I do not want to have a situation where the person on the losing side starts bringing back votes. Once there is a decision made by council, there is a decision made by council. We need to respect ourselves and respect our decisions.
Thank you. Further comments? Okay. Following the information that I have in front of me, I think we have to follow the book, and I'm going to suggest that we follow the book, and therefore it cannot be brought up. But I am going to bring it up on my own as a different thing, and I'll read you my thoughts and my concerns, and this is what I'd like. Staff, on the January 13th meeting, I'm following this up with business from previous minutes. On the January 13th meeting, staff requested direction on 8 properties deemed to be, that they deemed to be surplus to the current needs of the township. Council gave direction to investigate and obtain evaluations on those 3 properties. There were 4 other properties discussed, and council decided to do nothing with them and leave them as surplus. That would leave about 88 properties considered to be surplus by staff, and council decided to leave them alone so that they will remain on the surplus. So I know that at least 3 properties have been sold over the past 10 or 15 years. I know of 3 for sure over the 10 or 15 years, and they brought substantial amount of money into the that was used for other projects in the community. I don't know if we've given, I believe we give direction to staff to look after those 3 properties and investigate and evaluate those 3 properties, and I'm sure council is going to do that. I'm concerned about how much surplus property is still out there, and I know it's going to be a bit of work, but I would like a ballpark figure to have some idea of the value of all of these properties. Is it $1 million? Is it 2 million? Is it 10 million? I don't know. And to be under good governance, I think that's should be determined. And I have a couple other questions on it too. As owners of these properties, does our insurance cover these properties? And are they identified as being owned by the township, and therefore should we have, it's not private because it's public property, so people want them. But are we leaving ourselves open to litigation because of owning those properties? So what my request would be is that staff give us a ballpark figure of what they figure those properties should be worth. And I need this motion to make that done. So if anybody wants to support that motion?
Could I ask a question first?
Sure.
Well, let's get back to motion and we'll go down.
You're moving, Mike?
Yeah.
Thank you. Second by Councillor, or Deputy Mayor Stover. Proceed. Councillor, Deputy Mayor, you have a question or comment?
I'm just wondering, because of, you know, again, I'm not going to apologize for missing this meeting. This was a significant personal matter I was dealing with. I am not going to apologize. The way this meeting went through basically stagnated future planning of any kind. I do know how the vote went. I'm just wondering, my one question would be to you, Mayor Lobo, because of the stagnation of this and not being allowed or able to bring it forward, what would you do with the information?
Well, if we're not going to do anything with it, at least the next year, term of council will have some information that when staff are recommending they have no use for the land, that we consider, they'll know some idea what it's worth, and therefore they can move forward. Because right now we're sitting here, not knowing what it's worth, holding on to property that we are not collecting taxes, and we have no use for.
Thank you.
Just a point of order, Mr. Mayor, through you, I believe your motion is not a legal motion, because it was the council of the corporation enacted as follows, that staff continue investigating surplus land options, and it was defeated. The motion you're making cannot come back for another year.
I'm not asking you to come back. I'm asking what's the value of the property?
Which means you're asking staff to continue investigating surplus land options.
No, I'm not. I'm asking them what it's worth, so that a year from now, when council has an opportunity to consider this recommendation, I mean, council just said, no, we don't want to do nothing with it. And what are they suggesting? Just leave it? That's my question. Go ahead.
Two things. Council, they is not appropriate, John. It's we. We made a decision and we support the decision that we made. And I've just heard both the mayor and deputy mayor speak against a motion that was passed by our council. We need to respect our own motions. But to speak to the motion that is on the floor here,
Which one are you referring to?
about finding out the value of our properties. That is a part of, sorry, I believe the deputy mayor seconded it.
Yes.
To bring it on floor for discussion.
Yep. Go ahead.
So your question is a very, very valid question. It is absolutely what we should be doing to be responsible about our land and how to use it. That information that you're asking for is part of why we need our asset management plan. Those are part of our assets and they need to be part of our plan of how to manage those assets. So I think that is absolutely valid information, but I think we have a process that we have not proceeded as well as we should have in terms of an asset management plan. Now, I'm not sure who I'm asking, but I believe it is our responsibility to have a policy regarding surplus land. So do we have that policy in place? Because I think maybe to address what you are trying to get to, Mayor Local, that's what we need. We need our asset management plan and we need our surplus land policy and put those pieces together.
I don't know. Does anybody know if we have a surplus?
Through you, Mayor, Local, to council. With respect to your balance sheet, yes, you would identify all of your assets within respect to that. I don't want to go into the entirety of why we are where we are. We know that there is a bunch of work to be done. The reason for bringing just a small number of properties to council in the first place was because of the ask, number one. Number two was because researching it requires a lot of effort from staff. So to address it through the asset management plan with respect to our auditors, treasurer, and our responsibilities would be appropriate. And that is something that we can definitely look at if we know that our asset coordinator, it has that on the list, and I know the council has approved the budget for some assistance with respect to cleaning up the asset management.
Do you have a comment?
Through your Mayor Local, in response to Councillor Longo's question about sales surplus land policy, we do have one currently in place. It's a required policy under Municipal Act Section 270. So we do have that in place.
Mayor Gofford?
Could that be shared with council, please?
Does the motion that we approved saying that we will not look at this any further properties, is that going against the policy? Do we have to determine surface lands? Are we saying we're not going to follow the policy? Is that what we're saying? Your comment?
I agree with Councillor Booth that this isn't the mechanism or the best tool to do what we're doing, and I'm not sure it's the proper tool. I think we do have other tools, so I will not be supporting it, but I'm not sure we should have it in front of you, and you need to make that decision as the chair.
Go ahead, Councillor Ainsworth.
Through you, Mayor. So, a question, how did we come back a week later with a motion to reconsider about closing the arena? How did we pass that? And number 5, number 4 and 5 in here, the motion to reconsider, you know, we have to have the supporting votes of the council, or the number 5 is, if we have a vote a week later, it's just a majority vote. So we came back in less than a week and we made a motion to reconsider to reopen the arena. And that got passed.
Which I talked about a year ago, Mike.
No, it was just back at, yes, sorry. But it wasn't a year. We didn't wait a year. We didn't wait a week.
Yep.
So,
Well, okay,
so we did it then, why can't we do it now?
well,
Through you, Mr. Mayor, as a matter of procedure, a motion to reconsider can be made at any time. Our procedure bylaw speaks that council may not reconsider. It does not say it shall not. So may leaves it open to options. A motion to reconsider is in order. If there's new information that comes available to council, it might change the outcome of the result had they had that information initially. So in answer to your question, Councilor Ainsworth, when the arena came back, the original decision was made. In that time, the community rallied and did fundraising to supply us with information, or to supply us with funds to help do the repairs at the arena, which is why staff brought it back as a motion to reconsider, because there was new information that was available to council that could have changed the option. The motion to reconsider is strictly a yes or no conversation. It is not to get into the nitty gritty of the debate at that time. It is literally yes or no, we want to reconsider this or not. If you do, then you proceed with the new information and discuss it and go from there. If you don't, then that's the end of the conversation. Can answer any further questions of that?
thank you. Did we not, that's all in that vote? Did we not do that a few minutes ago? Exactly as you suggested. Did we not have a vote to reconsider?
Yes.
So,
That was approved.
so through you, Mr. Mayor, there was a motion that was made by Councillor Ainsworth and seconded by Councillor Stover for a motion to reconsider 7.1 surplus. However, there was a point of order called by Councillor Neal saying that members not able to call for a motion, members who did not vote in the majority cannot call for a motion to reconsider. You did rule that procedure bylaw 13.182 stands and that the motion would not be in order. We then proceeded to take the floor and the motion was been seconded. But we do need clarity on what that motion was, and the clerk and deputy clerk have that, so we do need that.
Go ahead, Mike.
For you, Mayor. So on the 13.18, I would like to challenge the word may.
Okay.
Because maybe not. It opens it up. If this was written in stone, it would have words that must not, or will not. It says may. So may is a bit of a fluff word.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
if you read number 2, it says a motion to reconsider a decided matter shall only be moved by a member who voted with the majority. The chair has already ruled that your first one is not allowed. So that one's done. Now we're talking about the mayor's motion, which is and I need clarity when you're saying, Mr. Mayor, about finding out, because to me, we said staff will not continue investigating surplus land options.
Yes.
So what is it exactly you're asking? Are you asking just for staff to come back to say that the other 80 properties are worth $1 million, or what are we? Because we said no more investigating the surplus land options, which leaves it to me, to the next council a year from now to decide.
I think it's unfortunate if we follow all the rules, that means we cannot consider these properties in our, what's the word for it? The one that Mary Kathman's asking for all the time?
Yeah, ma'am.
Yeah, we can't consider that in the asset management plan. Because council has decided to take that off and not do anything with it, so we don't have to worry about that, and I don't think that's correct. I don't believe that's what council wants. All we want to do is find out what the properties are worth, so we can move ahead. And that's a responsibility that we have. Mayor Kathman.
to clarify what happened at that meeting that we're discussing, council made a decision to look at 5 properties. Our CAO has already explained to us that that is going to take time and effort to investigate those 5 properties. But I repeat, I have lost numerous votes. I do not intend to come back and re-argue at the next meeting. If I lose a vote, I've lost a vote. Let's move on.
Go ahead, Councillor Ainsworth.
Through you, Mayor. Couple of things. So first of all, I don't think we turned down the motion to reconsider that. And plus your motion.
Yes, I did. Yes, I decided that we could not reconsider.
Well, I would still like to challenge that. Still like to challenge that, because I tell you, we're trying to look outside the box to find money to fix things in this township without going into the taxpayers' pockets.
Point of order.
It's not debatable, it's not. A motion to reconsider is not amendable, and debate must be confined to the reasons why you've already.
Mayor Johnson.
No, I
I'm
don't.
sorry, Councillor Stover. Mayor Stover. Oh, what's your point?
I have 2 points. One, that is not pertinent to the discussion of what is on the floor for us at this point. And I also remind my fellow councillor that we do accept the decision of the chair, whether we like it or not. It is his responsibility and he exercised it.
Go ahead, Deputy Mayor.
I won't belabor this much longer, but I just have a question, to you, Mary Little. Did you consider in your decision to not allow the motion to reconsider, did you consider number 5?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, as a matter of procedure, we are getting way off track here as council. We are getting way off our intended agenda. Motions to reconsider are very clearly laid out as to when and where and how and who. That is in the procedure bylaw. Any amendment to the procedure bylaw requires another bylaw. A bylaw cannot be amended by resolution. Further to that, members do have the ability to, with regards to point of orders, the mayor does consider the information and the input provided during point of orders, as well as the procedure bylaw in front of them. The mayor's ruling can be appealed at that point in time, so there is an appeal option. However, that option was not utilized during the initial ruling by Mayor Logal that the procedure bylaw 13.182 would stand. And council then proceeded to move on to a second motion, which means the point of order in regards to the motion to reconsider item 7.1 has been put to bed by this council through the democratic process and the appeal and the point of order process as conducted by Mayor Logal. The second motion on the floor, which again, clerks are asking you for clarity on what that motion is. We believe it's along the lines of staff to get valuations on the remaining 80 township-owned properties. That was moved by Mayor Logal, seconded by Councillor Deputy Mayor Stover. However, we do need clarity on what it is we're discussing because we have gone around in circles and we keep going back and forth and trying to discuss matters that have been previously decided by council and the mayor. So I leave that to you as to how you'd like to proceed, Mr. Mayor. We're here to support procedurally and to help get the meeting on track so that we can run efficiently for the remainder of the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I think it's best that we consider that motion that Mike made because it's on the floor and we will proceed from there. Basically, that was to find out what the properties are worth. Please read the motion.
Mr. Mayor, I do stand corrected by Deputy Clerk. The motion was moved by Councillor Ainsworth, seconded by Deputy Mayor Stover. Again, we need clarity on what the motion was. We believe it is that staff could get evaluations on the remaining 80 township-owned properties. Can I have that? Please, that that is in fact.
That was your motion, Mike?
Yes.
You realize that, Deputy Mayor, that that's what the motion was?
I do as well, and would add that it is different than, how the minutes read. So I believe it would be
Illegal.
legal, like it would be allowed.
Thank you. Councilor Booth.
And I still raise my point that I believe that that is asking staff to continue investigating surplus land options, which is against what was defeated before. And I'm going to ask for a recorded vote because for sure this issue is going to the Integrity Commissioner, because you just ruled that a motion to reconsider decided matter shall only be moved by a member who voted in the majority. That motion was defeated. You don't have the right, Mr. Mayor, or Mike doesn't have the right to make that motion to say that we're gonna go against that motion, which was to investigate the other stuff.
If you want, in my opinion, if you want to read, you'll find there's different maze and shell and mills and all of that stuff. So it's really hard to follow the rules exactly and make sure you're doing the right thing. Very confident.
I will, be not supporting this because I believe that we already have mechanisms to get the information that you're asking, the same one that I mentioned earlier through the asset management plan, which I believe, our administrative person has been updating that information and we can get it through that process. And our clerk is going to provide us with our surplus land policy. So I think those two items will be sufficient. I'm concerned about putting another task that may be onerous time-wise on our staff.
Isn't it funny if you go around enough times, you find out we're saying the same thing? We're saying-
Right, I'm just saying
We're actually saying the same thing. We need to find out what those properties are worth. That's what we're saying. That's all I'm after. Find out, if you want to go through the process of following the asset management plan, which there's a policy there, I don't have any problem with that. I just want to know what those properties are worth, because they're sitting there doing nothing. Mike.
Mayor, I agree with you 100%. These properties have been sitting there for years and years. Council, staff has passed through that property, been sitting there. I can't even believe we're having this argument, but we are. So, I think it's a great idea. It'll put some numbers on the table of actually what we're looking at and maybe open some more options. And again, we're trying to do something good for the taxpayers. And this would, certainly alleviate tax hikes to get some of the things that need to be done in this township done.
Would you consider, making a amendment to your motion saying that the staff are directed to proceed with the asset management and include these properties that are on the surplus properties identified by staff?
Are you looking for an amendment?
Yes.
Yeah, that works for me.
I would agree with that.
So we're saying that we want to make sure that the surplus land is identified in the asset management plan and a priority to evaluate and some evaluation stuff. What you're suggesting, Mike?
I'm sorry.
Where's your motion you're thinking of and making is that staff, include the surplus land in the asset management plan and find and get some evaluations of these properties.
So through you, Mr. Mayor, I do not have the surplus land policy in front of me. However, the use of the word surplus does come with certain criteria to be met. One of which is that council must declare the property surplus. Right now, this property, these 80 properties have not been declared surplus. They are simply township owned properties. So it's very clear. We have to use very clear language here that it is not surplus because nothing has been declared to staff's knowledge at this point.
The recommendation was that staff, from staff was to be considered for surplus. Originally, that was the initiative. On March 13th. Go ahead, Mike.
For you, Mayor, can I make a suggestion that we just use the term vacant land? Township vacant land?
Yep.
Township owned vacant land?
Just making some. Making some changes.
I don't have information, but I have, to get confirmation here on what the motion to amend is. Motion to amend that to include that the asset management plan includes evaluation of each township property. I have that moved is Councillor Ainsworth, seconded by Stover. Yeah, is that correct?
Comments? Your Catherine?
I can support that piece because I think the way that municipalities can get things done is through our policies and procedures and following them. So I'm pleased to see this as part of our consideration of the asset management plan.
Other comments?
Do I have it read one more time? Yeah. For Mike to out of
So through you, Mr. Mayor, the motion to amend is that, the motion be amended to include that the asset management plan includes the valuation of each vacant township property.
Further comments? Seeing none, all in favor? Motion's carried. Okay. We have to go back to the original motion, yes.
Thanks, Lord.
Mike?
Do I ask for a 5-minute break just to get some clarification on something?
No, you shouldn't get into it here. In over.
Pardon me?
You should get it over.
Well, I wanted my clarification on how I could dispute you turning down the motion.
I didn't catch your story.
Well, when we turned down the motion to reconsider, I want to know the clarification for, I can't quickly find it here in the procedure bylaw. How I could challenge the 13.18, the word.
Council will not reconsider a decision for a period of 1 year following the decision. I know here. Well, let's get this one settled first. Yeah. Was a recorded vote requested?
Yes, there was.
Okay. We need a recorded vote.
So through you, Mr. Mayor, we did have a recorded vote requested by Councillor Booth. So starting with Councillor Booth and then going alphabetically by council's member last name, I'll call your name. Please.
Sorry, or can you read out with the amended so that I've got,
Okay.
thank you.
Well, I'll do my recorded vote spiel and then I'll go through the motion.
Thank you.
So starting with Councillor Booth, I will then go through council members alphabetically. When I call your name, please vote yea or nay in regards to the following motion. That staff to get valuations on the remaining 80 township owned properties and that the asset management plan include the valuation of each vacant township property. Councillor Booth.
No.
Councillor Ainsworth.
Yes.
Councillor O'Neill.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Stover.
Yes.
And Mayor Lobo.
Yes.
Motion is carried 4-1.
Thank you. Mike, did we answer your question, or are you still?
Mary, no, we haven't yet.
Councilor Booth.
Mike, if you go to 14.5, what the clerk was saying is the chair's ruling shall be final unless a member immediately appeals the ruling of the chair.
Thank you.
Thank you, Greg. Okay, we're gonna move on.
But Mayor,
Yes.
I'd like to appeal that, your decision to drop the, reconsider.
Yeah, I can't do anything about it. It should have been brought up right at the point. That's what it says.
So can I ask the clerk what the procedure is to bring that back at a later date?
I think there is one, because it says that the chair's ruling shall be final unless a member immediately appeals the ruling of the chair. Challenges the chair as follows. The member appealing shall state the reason for the appeal. The chair may offer a reasonable in favor of upholding his or her ruling, and the member shall vote on the appeal without debate. That's what it says.
Could I ask for consideration of the amount of different conversations that were going on around the room? That it wasn't clearly clarified what was going on?
I don't think so. No. It wasn't, well, maybe not clear, but then we can't keep it, responsible for going back on different stuff time and time again. That's the rule, and if you want to declare a, point of order, declare it then, and then we'll make a decision. I'll make my decision, and then members of council will follow. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. Okay, we still haven't finished all the business arising from previous minutes. Does anybody have anything else regarding the previous minutes? I have one. And that's regarding the insurance coverage that was provided by, McLennan Insurance. I was there. Couple things that, one thing that came up was he mentioned cyber, insurance. And I'm not, personally, I don't know what type of coverage we have there, and I think it's important that as governance that we should know that. And the second one, and I'm bringing this one, which I think is very important as well too, is all of our, facilities that we have, what coverage we have on those, whether we have full coverage as a replacement or partial, or where we sit. Because insurance can be very expensive. How would I put that? Insurance can be very expensive or very cheap. But you need to have the right stuff. You don't want you probably don't want an old building, fully insured, because that's gonna cost you a fortune to replace it. And at the same time, you want to have a property that is, just recently built or whatever. Make sure you have the right amount of insurance on that so that you can be replaced. So I would suggest that we need to know a little bit more about what type of insurance we have on our facilities, and that's just good governance. So I'm requesting that the staff provide some more information as to what insurance, we have. We don't have a person that's in charge specifically with purchasing, but that is normally a purchasing function. So, does anybody have any thoughts on that? Need a motion
I'll make that motion.
that we investigate to make sure we have the proper coverage, of our facilities and cyber insurance. Can I get a second? Second by Councilor Booth. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion Carried. Moving on. The next one is development charges refund. Reserve fund update. Aaron, you gonna take us through this?
So this just came back as last meeting, council did not have time to review it, so it's just bringing back to the table.
Any questions or comments? Go ahead, Mary Catherine.
Just two questions, I guess. What are our responsibilities as council in allocating these funds? And also, I believe, having, just for fun, looked at our development charges bylaw, there's a page in the addendum where it says we're going to get information on what capital project, the amount transferred to the capital fund, and the intended application. And then I also looked at the regulation from Ontario, and it was talking about the need to say how that was used and how it met section, whatever it was, of the regulation. So will council be receiving some more information on how those funds were used? I guess two questions. I should have asked them separately. Sorry about that.
No problem. 2024 has been passed by the auditors, so that has been set and there were no transfer outs in 2024. 2025 has been set with allocations from the budget, has not been approved from the auditors, but once is, will come back in a full report for 2025. So as for council's response to this, taking money out of the VCs is through the bylaw. So through the budgeting process, we can identify which funds we can use, and through the budget process, council will pass through the budget of what funds we can use as well.
Go ahead, Paul.
Yeah, just a small clarification on that. Again, I mean, I see in the budget we're looking at tomorrow that we are planning to use more next year and that we use some this year. I may be misunderstanding what I read, but it seemed that there's a reporting process. Are you saying that reporting process is through the auditor and it is part of our auditing process?
So as for the reporting part, I do bring that back to council for approval, stating which funds are being used. But it is also in our development charge study, which funds are allocated per asset that we are able to do. So we have looked through our initial one. As you know, we are in the process of updating our DCs because it wasn't quite clear and does not include some of the amendments that have been done in the last few years. So this new DC study will allow us to look at a few other items like needs studies that we can use more funds for to be able to fund back into our budget of items. Is that a little clear?
Sort of. I'll just pick up if I could there a little bit. So for example, the DCs to fire, we used 173,000 last year. And this is where I think the report that's brought to council is supposed to sort of clarify that 173,000 was used to purchase whatever it was, and it is qualifying because.
So that would be the report coming later, once the auditors have looked over this as well. But they will look at, I can tell you that 173,000 comes from the replacement of, I believe, 2 fire trucks. So it's a combined amount, but in that report, it will state what those trucks were as per our DC study as it sits right now.
So be patient, Councillor O'Neill.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Thank you, Aaron. Any other? Go ahead.
Through you, Mayor, Councillor Neal, if you pull up the bylaw, will identify the development charges study policy. And in the back of that policy, there's appendices. And in those appendices are specific, there's specific line items that tell you the year and the asset and the monies that can come from development charges. It's actually not a lot of money, but it is very specific to follow those tables. And if you wanted to be walked through what exactly we've done for this year, we'd be happy to do that for you, if you could.
Thank you for clarifying that. I did see those there, but then this report didn't directly reference, so I wasn't sure of that piece. So
Don't see them.
they're online.
Okay. Mike?
Through you, Mayor, thank you. A couple of quick questions. I noticed like the heavy concentrations on public works, fire departments and buildings, but the smaller ones like cemeteries, the libraries and, bylaws and stuff, it's kind of sitting there. I don't know if they're, so I guess my other question is like, are the balances sized by risk, or they just kind of put in their, their regular thing? That would be my first question.
Okay. Aaron, do you have a comment?
So the percentage is by, the bylaw. It says what percentages go to each fund.
Okay.
Go ahead. Steve.
Through your Mayor Lobo, Councillor Andrew, so through the policy statement of the development charges, in the appendices, when this development charge policy was created, I believe 2020 or 2021, was a 10-year plan. Part of the reason why staff brought this back to council to have it redone is because our financial markets have completely changed. The cost of our assets have completely changed, maybe making it way more difficult for the municipality to function. Everybody can function. If you had a mortgage renewal, if you're not you're retired, but anybody that's had a mortgage renewal in the last couple of years understands exactly what I'm talking about. Anybody that visits the grocery store understands exactly what I'm talking about. So when you go into these files that we have, the appendices of this policy, it clearly identifies what you can take in each year. It's identified all the way through to 2030 or 35. And it's very, very specific. If we purchase something or do something outside of the policy, it has to conform to the development charges legislation that was changed at the beginning of 2025. And it has to be something that is specific for growth. As an example, if you decided that you were going to, you had more roads to cover because you had subdivision development and you had to purchase another plow truck, that's an example of something. You still have to follow the legislation requirement, still have to follow the policies, but that's an example. Otherwise, you're tied to the development charges bylaw and policies as developed and as approved by the council at that time. So we are hopeful to have the new development charges policy brought to council by the end of 2026 or sometime in 26, as soon as it can possibly be done. And then that will give us potentially some new numbers and some new opportunities to use the development charges that are there. But I also will say and conclude with, if you don't have growth or you don't allow growth, you will not increase your development charges. Funds available for the number one priority reason that our provincial government has said they should be used for, and that is to offset the tax burden on our residents.
Thank you, Dave. Go ahead, Mike.
Thanks for that clarification. Just a couple more quick questions then. So I'm looking at, for the water, there's 33,000 up in that account. And it seems to be a critical one. I know it's funded by the residents, I guess, for the majority of it, but there's 33,000 up in that account for that. I don't know, would our procedure allow us to put more in there in case we have senior breakdowns, we have line breaks, infrastructure, anything like that? Is that
Through you, Mayor Lobo, the councillor. So On the later part of the appendices of this policy that I'm referring to for development charters, identifies monies. The appendices that are at the beginning of that, the tables, what I'm referring to, identifies what the township charges based on its asset management plan. And this is when the asset management plan, as Councilor Neal has identified, ties into the entire appropriateness of how the municipality functions financially. So with the update of your asset management plan, which is happening now at the approval of Council 26, combine that with a new development charges plan that is going to come in, is going to be more in line with real time finances today. We're doing that work in an attempt to set the municipality up for better financial success, all of which takes an absorbent amount of time, effort, and energy. I understand that there is a bit of a will and a need in our local residents right now to hurry up on this process. I certainly can tell you that staff feel that at the table with respect to council pushing to get these things done. The unfortunate part is they only happen so fast. We can only push so hard, but we are trying to get this done. This also, and I will very clearly say this also identifies a significant number of years where there has been things left out in the slopes. We are gathering it up. We are doing the work that we can. Our staff is working as hard as they possibly can to get all of this done. But it all ties together, absolutely, including your tax calculation. It all contribute.
Awesome, thanks.
Anybody else have any further questions? Go ahead, Mike.
Just had one. I know it's 57,000 on interest. Is there an opportunity through that whole policy to maybe look at, I mean, that's a lot of money sitting there. Is there any better investment that might be looked at? For better rates, bring that interest money up? Is that a possibility through any of the policies? But I don't know what this is in, like, what an account, what the interest rate is compared to.
So, through Mayor Logan,
Yes.
through Mayor Logan, so the bank of choice of the municipality is BMO, commercial banking. We are structured within that portfolio. All of the monies from the municipality are with that bank. And they are identified within your different accounts, reserve account, operating account, etc. Your development charges account. So the interest earned is also earned on the total number of monies within that specific portfolio. And that is really controlled by BMO. I am sure that we could look at that for you and try to get you some information if you're so interested. How does the municipality earn interest on their money? That might be a separate presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. Further questions or comments? Go ahead, Rebecca.
When I attended Roma, one of the learning lunches I went to was specifically on resources that are available to help townships with exactly this. So I'll look back at what that is and share with everyone at the table here.
Thank you. Okay. I don't think we have a mover and seconder. We get mover and seconder to accept the report. Council received report FIN 202602, Development Charge Reserve Fund for information. Mover and seconder. Moved by Deputy Mayor Stover, seconded by Councilor Booth. Further discussion? All in favor? That's carried. Next we have an investigation of facilities committees, and that's a notice of motion submitted by Councilor Ainsworth, January 14th, 2028. I'll let you address the council, Mike, and then we'll read the rest of the resolution.
Thank you, Mayor. So this motion, basically come from our public meeting we had in the Pinella Community Center, and to address some of the residents' concerns. The motion pretty much speaks for itself. I think there's some options there for staff to come back to us to see how this fits in with Parks and Rec. And, how that all could follow maybe under the same, terms of reference for the Parks and Rec. Maybe, just, I don't know if we want to hash out how this is going to work, but I think I could leave that up to staff to come back with something like that. But I do know, you know, we're always fighting for, our staff to find the time to do these kind of things. So, I think it would be an opportunity for it to run through the Parks and Rec department, so we're not having any extra meetings and stuff. And, agendas and minutes and stuff like that. So if we can do it through that, try to make some subcommittees that are, Bruce Grist, and how they ran before is probably not how they can run now. So, we could walk that fine line with the new and the old, that would be great.
Thank you. Any questions or comments for Mike?
Is-
Okay, we should probably, take a motion first. Can I get a mover? Moved by Councilor Ainsworth, seconded by Deputy Mayor Stolberg. Go ahead, Kathy.
Well, I appreciate the sentiment of this, but seriously, here you're arriving, Mike, to be the savior for our volunteers. And yet, last March, you arrived again to be the savior for the township and, deal with the scourge of our volunteers and the major liability issues. So to me, this looks like a lot of electioneering going on your part.
Let's forget it.
Point of order.
Fair enough, fair enough. I take your point, Mayor Lobo. However, speaking to this, this is an item that this council has dealt with every single year. We set up the committees at the beginning. We were so proud of ourselves. We were so proud of the new volunteers who came on board. And we got those committees off and running with, at that time, Clerk Kemp. Then, when Clerk McDonald was with us, we directed her to bring forward a report. She wrote and prepared the report that was asked for, excellent report, to tweak some things and make things even better. So again, we're very proud of where we're going. Then last year, we took an abrupt turn and said, no, we want to get rid of all of those committees, and we're going to consolidate everything in this committee. And now, when we're about to enter lame duck, we're asking for yet another report to come forward. And I missed in my summary of things that have happened is this has been discussed and recommendations have been made, both certainly on at least one occasion, but I believe twice, from our recreation committee on how we can move forward with this. So it's not that we need more reports, but frankly, as much as I love volunteers, and I think that they do or can, should bring so much to us, it's too late in our mandate to be going and trying to reinvent the wheel.
Thank you. Anybody else have any comments? Go ahead, Councilor Ainsworth.
See you, Mayor. I don't think it's too late at all. I think the people that want to put their heart and soul into some of the community centers, I think we should give them the option to try to bring that to fruit. And you know, they heartfelt with those community centers, whether it's the Bernardville Community Center or the Pinella Community Center. There's some people there that want to try to make that work. And I think we need to give them that opportunity. And I'm surprised some of them aren't here today, maybe it's because of the storm, but I know they were waiting for this motion to come so they could find out what their future might look at their facilities. So there's an opportunity here without putting too much burden on the staff, if we can do it right and bring some extra people on as volunteers.
Thank you. Councilor Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor Lobo. Thank you, Councilor Ainsworth, for bringing this forward. And when we were at Pinello, there was a strong contingent there that wanted to keep the, building going. And, I would like to, see what direction could come from how these subcommittees would work, how it could possibly work. We have more people coming on to the Parks and Rec committee, and, I just look forward to, trying to come up with some consensus, to see how we can, incorporate the volunteers into a subcommittee or how it would work. So I would support this. Thank you.
Thank you. Have we considered, Mike, first of all, I believe some of our committees are still functioning that way, if you're suggesting. Would you agree with that or not?
Through you, Mayor, I think most of them now are starting to make them, like a township event. I think they've gone and changed how it's all laid out. So for instance, like the coffee time that they have in the Burnsville Community Center, I believe that's now community event. So they're trying to adapt to the new policies, and that's how they're doing it.
And that's my question. I was thinking, well, they're probably a little bit ahead of everybody else.
Yes.
And I think what you're suggesting is that's something you'd like to take, further on to the other community centers.
Absolutely. I feel that somebody on that group needs to be part of the Parks and Rec. And then they would have a subcommittee that just kind of, helps out with the community center.
And would these smaller groups report to council, or would they move their information up through the channels?
It would come through the Parks and Rec.
Thank you.
That's what I'm assuming.
Rick, comment?
I mean, what you're saying was said by the, the Parks and Recreation Committee 2.5 years ago. If this council was going to do something, we should have done it then, not when we are almost at lame duck. I mean, I support this idea, but again, I was outvoted last March, so I'm not bringing it back. It's ironic. I guess in this case, you are allowed to bring it back, though, but you were with the winning side on that vote.
Councilor Kruger.
Through you, your worship, I have no problem if staff want to report back. I'm going to find it very interesting because really, how many advisory committees do we have? We only have the Parks and Rec. What else? This council has gotten rid of all our committees. We don't have a heritage committee right now. We don't have a water committee right now. And I understand the frustration that we had from people, but if staff wants to come back and tell people exactly when they're running for these committees, what it means they can do, I think you'll have a lot of people that won't be interested in it because they're not gonna wanna be just a fundraiser for it. So I have no issue with if staff wants to take the time to report back on it.
I don't know, Councilor Kruger. I'm hearing that Vernonville has been fairly successful. And I don't know if those people on that committee feel that they're fundraisers or are they community oriented and they want to help themselves. And I'm suggesting maybe they're both. Not just to get big money. That's not their responsibility. And I think we have to make use of those facilities. We're sitting there, we're continuing to spend money to keep them open. And we need to make more use of it. Go ahead, Deputy Mayor.
I'd like to use the word champion of the buildings. They're wanting to step up, however that looks. So I look forward to, seeing what, comes forward. Thank you.
Councilor Ainsworth.
Mayor, at the public meeting, past mayor admitted that taking the volunteers away from the township was a mistake. And I think if, we kind of set off that ruling and came up with what we came up with. And I think over time, as we've gone through these last 2 or 3 years where we're the feedback that we've gotten from some of the people that were part of those little committees, how they'd like to get it back. I think we should try to give them the opportunity to help us out with those community centers and make them more viable for the community. Do we have any kind of history on, you know, how full were they when it was just those committees looking after it versus what happened when they got rid of them? It became running through just the Parks and Rec, or the Parks and Recs or that used to just look after everything back then when they hired that employee. So I mean, things like that, it's, the past mayor said we make decisions sometimes in our right, so let's have another look at it. Let's give the people the opportunity, and hey, maybe no one put their name in, maybe we're back at square one. So
You got it.
The irony of this just blows me away.
Thank you.
Because we've had so many things that were brought to us, all of our council, of people who wanted to step up, people who wanted to help. I look at what happened in March, where there was a large group from Nawatin who were more than ready to help. And only one of those people remains on that committee.
Anybody else have any comments? I'll make, you know, I don't know when the committees, started to fall apart. I do know that there were, we had 6 or 7 committees that were doing all the things that they thought right, but they were all together different. Some were following policy, some weren't, and I believe some people got, frustrated when they just found out that they're gonna have to follow the rules. And you have to have, rules and everybody operating in the same way, at least in general policies, and that wasn't happening, and it was creating friction amongst staff, amongst those volunteers, et cetera. So I think we have to forget about what was gone in the past. Mike has the right idea, he wants to try something different, and I think it's a responsibility that we should be all following up on. I'll read the resolution. Whereas council held a public meeting on December 16th for the purpose of hearing residents' comments regarding the future use of Pinella Hall, and whereas council heard from residents at the public meeting that reinstating resident-led facility advisory committees is important, and whereas council passed a resolution on November 12, 2025 to include all parks except the Grafton Heritage Park in the Adopt a Park program, which is intended to create opportunities for volunteer groups to assist with the maintenance and beautification of parks throughout the township. And whereas the council heard from residents who are willing to volunteer for the township, now therefore be it resolved that council directs staff to investigate facility advisory committees and to the overall committee structure, and the parks report, that staff report back to council with options for alternative committees, taking into account the Parks and Recreation Advisory Committee as well as potential facility-specific advisory committees. Mover and seconder. Moved by council. You got it? Further discussion? All in favor? Motion's carried. Communications, request for rental waiver for Pinella Hall for the benefit event in support of a lifelong local residents. And there's correspondence from a resident. And they're asking for waivers of the Pinella fees. Anybody have any questions or comments on these? Go ahead, Councilor Ainsworth.
For you, Mayor. I'm assuming the stuff that's blacked out is personal and we can't talk about it?
Yeah, I think there's staff, redlined those.
Can we talk about the nature of this request?
Yeah, go ahead.
I think it's important that council knows what this is all really about.
Well, I tend to agree with you. I hate to sign it.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So Through Mr. Mayor, yes, the redacted pieces are highly personal, private information that was supplied to us. So under the Municipal Freedom of Information and Protection of Privacy Act, because we didn't have the authorization from the individual to disclose that highly personal health information, we've gone ahead and redacted it. We've left the high level basic pieces there for council's consideration, which is a community benefit for a resident. So hopefully that's enough, but happy to answer any further questions.
Thank you. Go ahead, Councilor Booth.
Through your worship, I guess, and I'm thinking along the same lines as Councillor Ainsworth is, I don't mean to sound heartless or whatever, but unless we had more information, for example, what is the cost to the township? Are they doing a full day rental, a half day rental? What is it? And I know at Fenella, when it was brought up about people to say, we need to rent the hall more, we need to get, I don't think what we meant is that we're gonna give away things either. And we as council take these requests in all the time and we need to look at this. So I'm not sure whether we could just leave it for now and let them have the function. And then they can come back to us afterwards maybe, and they can apply to get the money back. And then that information will be public because obviously they're gonna have to advertise or do something to get people to attend this. And then that information would be public because I guess one of my concerns is, and I'm not saying this at all, but what happens if this is for somebody that is not an upstanding member of society? And we don't know who it is, right? So it could be, I'll use Mr. Trump as an example, that they're doing a fundraiser for Mr. Trump and we find out that we gave him the building, you know, for the day for $100 and something for free, right? So I'm not in support of this just because of the way that it's presented, and I think we need more information. For example, what's the cost? Thank you.
Okay, we're starting to debate. Can I get mover and seconder and bring this on the board? Councilor Ainsworth, Deputy Mayor Stover. Anybody else have any comments? Deputy Mayor.
I just, know that we're going to be getting more of these, and I think it's great that they're coming forward to ask for our support. And, if we do approve this, then we will be approving all of them. We can't just pick one or the other. One of the wording here, and again, we don't know if it's, Donald's daughter or sister or whatever, do they still live in the municipality? Madam Clerk, do we have a policy on this, on when to waive fees for buildings?
Yes, we do, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. We can, fees can be reduced if it's a continuous, use. So what I'm saying is it's supposed to be $100 for an event, they have 6 events, so you can reduce it by 20%, I think, is the figure. Fenella Hall has different, facilities, and they're all charged differently. There's a half-day fee and full day fee from the bottom to the top. There's about 4 or 5 different ways that can be used. And I don't know if this is there insurance coverage on those people when
They have, unless there's alcohol, they would have their, if I may, I believe that was, that's one of the bonuses for renting a municipal hall, is the insurance is already there, so they don't have to get private insurance. And I would-
so my question to you then is, if they're not renting it, are they covered? Oh, they don't pay fee, it's rental with no fee. Anybody else have any comments? Councilor Ainsworth.
To you, Mayor. I believe this has already hit social media. So it's already out there, what the event is, what it's for, it's already a poster made up.
Have you seen it?
Pardon me?
Have you seen it?
Yeah, I have seen it.
Okay. So you know more information
Yeah.
than we do.
So the fact that it's out in the open, does that make it valid? We can talk about it here?
Go ahead.
Mr. Mayor, and unfortunately, because of our obligations under MFIPA, the Municipal Freedom of Information and Protection of Privacy Act, unless we have explicit permission, we cannot discuss it. So even though it might be publicly available, it did not come to the corporation as such, so we are restricted as to what we can discuss in regards to
Well, then, I believe if council knew what it was about, they'd probably be okay with it. If we, you know, I don't wanna say, you know, trust me. If I'm just saying, if we go home and do our homework, they'd probably say, yeah, we should have did that. But, I do understand everybody's comment, and, me personally, I would support this for right now, because I know what it's about. I know you can go home and go on social media and find it.
I kind of like Councillor Booth's comment about,
Yeah,
when we know more information, you can do that, and there's no reason, in my opinion, there's no reason why we can't, rent this property, and when we find out more, and even if it's already happened, they can apply for a refund, then we know what we're talking about. Go ahead, Councillor Booth.
And I would agree, and I'd make the motion at this time, if it's acceptable, that we defer this request. And I like what you're saying, Councillor Ainsworth, is that we can research on our own. We'll defer this request right now, because even the deputy mayor brought up a good point is, I don't know, is there alcohol there? And there's gonna be an SOP, which involves other factors and everything. So I think until we have more information, council can go and research that. We can come back, and after the fact, we can always refund them the money. So I guess with all that saying, I'd make a motion that we defer this request until council can get more information.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor, oh, you made a motion?
Yes.
Can I get a second for that? Nobody's gonna second the motion?
I'll second that, because,
Thank you.
and then
Your Council, or I'm sorry, Deputy Mayor?
So I'm just kind of pulling out in my head, I think we're looking at, about $150 for a full day. There's 4 hours is basically $80. So maybe they would be wanting more. So just kind of give you an idea maybe of the price and just the kitchen and all that. So I guess I have no problem supporting this. It's just that there will be more as, you know, the need arises, just that we keep that in mind. And, if we need to get more information on what the, full cost is, if it's a full kitchen being used, that would have been helpful to have that. Thank you.
Councillor Hoover.
Just to speak on my motion, I'm not saying that we turn it down. What I'm saying is we defer it and let council research that, and it can come back. It's gonna happen, what, next week, or the week after, and they can pay the full amount, whatever it is, and then when it comes back to us, we, council, if they did our homework, can have a full discussion on, without mentioning names, of whether we agree or not, because I agree with what the deputy mayor is saying. This will open the floodgates for everybody to say that, well, I'm having a benefit thing too for somebody, and we would like it for free. And I know I don't want to be the bad person speaking about it, but we also have to make sure that we don't run the halls for free. And that's been talked about at budget and everything, that we have, I think the charges that we charge for our community centers and that are quite fair. And sometimes it's like a fee has to be paid, right? So I'm just asking for it to be deferred, not denied.
And we got a second. Yes, we did. Anybody else have any comments? All in favor? Motion's carried. And we'll get a response back reasonably soon. We can, well, we'll be able to see, if it's posted, then we should be able to make our own comments, and we can handle that next week. Okay. One bylaw that we had was, we're going to pull it and bring it back at the next regular council meeting of the 24th. So announcements and no motion, there is none. confirmatory bylaw 2607. It is recommended the council of the corporation of the township of Allen, Colwyn enact as follows. The bylaw 202607 being the bylaw to adopt the procedures of the regular council meeting held on the 10th day of February 2026 and to authorize its execution be given a first, second, and third reading and finally passed this 10th day of February 2026. Can I get a mover and a second? Moved by Councilor Ainsworth, seconded by Deputy Mayor Stover. All in favor? Motion's carried. And motion to adjourn is recommended that the regular council meeting held on February 10th, 2026 be adjourned at 12:26 p.m. Mover and seconded. Moved by Councilor O'Neill, excuse me. Seconded by Councilor Ainsworth. All in favor? Motion's carried. Thank you, everyone. Reminder that we get together tomorrow, I believe it's in Rosemead.